mountain pose or Tadasana. You can either have your feet together or hip width apart. Then moving up, we want to take our pelvis into a neutral alignment. Thinking of it like a sink, we don't want to spill the water out the front or out the back. We want to hold that nice and center. With the shoulders, roll them up and down the back, then face your palms towards the front. This pose should feel like you're nice and strong as one, like the mountain, but also nice and open through the chest and the hips. Moving from mountain into a tree pose, we're going to shift our weight into our supporting leg and lift our other leg up. You can either take it to the ankle or up onto the calf. And then with our knee, we want to draw it out so our hips are nice and open, but we don't want to twist in the hips. We're going to breathe here for at least 7 breaths. This pose is really great for proprioception through the ankles and also with your whole alignment from your head down into your feet. Feel free to move your hands around to change that center of gravity and challenge your balance even more. Then after 7 breaths, we're going to take it to the other side. Moving into a figure 4 pose, we're going to take our right ankle and put it on top of our left thigh. Using a horse or anything else sturdy, we're going to use it to balance. We're going to sit our hips back and down and then try keep our core up. This is really great for the outer hips and through the glutes. We're going to hold that for 7 breaths before changing sides. You can also do this sitting down if you wanted to as well. Bringing our focus round to the front of our legs, we're going to focus on the psoas or the hip flexors here. Taking a lunge, we're going to draw the back leg further back, keeping that knee above the ankle to stretch through the front of the leg here. We want to keep our focus on keeping our hips square towards the front of our front foot and our shoulders in alignment as well. You can use your leg to support yourself or take your hands up over your head. We're going to hold this for 5 to 7 deep breaths, making sure we swap sides. Then for our last pelvis and core stretch, we're going to move into what's called a malasana squat. Taking your knees over your second toes, slowly lower your hips down. Then we want to use our glutes to squeeze our legs open wide, and then if you can, bringing the elbows in towards the knees and prayer to open up through the hips. We want to have a nice straight spine while we're doing this as well. And that's our pelvis and core.
Tail yoga with your horse. The horse's tail has between 18 and 22 vertebrae, and these start at the end of the sacrum. In fact, the first 3 vertebrae sit within the hindquarters of your horse. The tail muscles can influence and be influenced by the spinal muscles in the back. The tail of the horse is an extension of the spine, and the tail can tell us so many things. Not only is it just for balance, it can tell us and show us where there's dysfunction. How your horse uses his tail is a real insight into their body and how they're feeling. We can make a difference through some tail yoga. Only work with your horse's tail if it is safe for you to do so. In this video, you can see that I'm very gently massaging around each side of the tail with my thumbs and then stroking it out. I then take the tail and gently put a squeeze down through the tail, gauging how tight or loose the tail feels. I'll repeat this a couple of times. Then take the tail and start to do very gentle circles 5 times anti-clockwise. And I'm really feeling for any restrictions through that movement. Once I've repeated this 5 times, I will take the tail and then repeat it 5 times clockwise. Again, feeling for any restrictions. Once I have done this and I'm happy with how many times I've repeated, I might want to repeat more, I will take the tail out and put in a hold. So this gives a really good stretch through that spinal column and up through the whole body of the horse. Your horse may pull forward at this point to increase the stretch, or your horse might break the stretch by moving away. If your horse breaks the stretch, you've gone too far. Next, I'm taking the tail to the side. This will help stretch the back through the opposite side and give a really good stretch down through that tail and through those hamstrings and quads. Then take it through to the middle, and then I'm going to repeat the other side, all the time doing it gently and slowly and working within the horse's comfortability range. I then take the tail back out to the centre for another pull and just to do my circles once again. Now notice this time whether the circles feel different. They might feel that they are less tense and more supple. You have much more flexibility going through that tail, both left and both right, anti-clockwise and clockwise. Repeat up to 5 times or more if you feel necessary, and then take the tail out for a final stretch all the way out to the back, anchoring yourself. You're not pulling as much as leaning away from the tail. Gently squeeze the tail through before going back to your circling either side of the tail and stroking that out. Contact Dani for online yoga. Contact Becky for equine physio.